Hey guys, Aaron here. Today we're going to be replacing the front O2 sensors on a Nissan Titan. This procedure is virtually the same for a Nissan Armada, and Nissan Titans or Armadas 2004 through 2015 do the same procedure. I like to use OEM sensors. I have had major problems with aftermarket electrical components on Nissans and imports, so if it's in the budget, try to get OEM. It's always the best. Pretty straightforward procedure. No real special tools. I do have a special socket to remove these, but it's not needed. Just helps out. But basic hand tools, 20-30 minutes will get the job done. I'll show you some tips and tricks along the way to help you out and to properly clear the codes. There's a little step that I like to do. That way no recurring codes will come back even though it is fixed. Here's a special socket I picked up from O'Reilly's. It's about $15. Fits right over the sensor and allows for the pigtail to come out so you don't strip out the O2 sensor. I've had that happen a couple times and this really helps me out. If you don't have this, that's okay. You can get a 7/8 or a 21 millimeter, I believe, wrench. Get it on there. Just make sure you don't strip out the nut. They do tend to strip out rather easily, especially with high mileage. So let's go ahead and get to getting those old ones out so we can replace these ones here. So today we're going to be tackling both sides. We're going to be replacing the primary O2 sensors, which are located just in the exhaust manifold. As you can see down here, turn it sideways, there you go. There's one, and what you got to do first is get the connector off, get the wiring harness out of this little bracket right here, and you can see the connector actually snaps right out of the valve cover. You're going to depress this clip and disconnect it right through here. Alright, once we got the harness out of the way, what we can go ahead and do is place the socket directly on the sensor, make sure it's seated all the way down, and then we can get a ratchet right up on top here. One other thing, I do like to use a swivel ratchet. It just helps out with the angle. The angle's kind of tough. If you don't have one, no biggie. It just helps get a little more leverage on there if you have a swivel. Alright, once you break it loose, you can go ahead and just unscrew it. It takes about 4 or 5 turns. It also helps if the vehicle's not completely hot. There you go. And there you have it. Pretty easy. Not too much there. Alright, now that we got the old one out, we can put the new one back in. There's no real torque specification that I know of for tightening these down. It'd be pretty hard to get a torque wrench down there too, so go ahead and just tighten her up and plug the sensor back in. Alright, so as you can see, we got the new sensor in. Make sure you snap your connector back into its original location and tie up the harness in this little mounting trim piece right here. Keeps it away from the manifold. Pretty important that this doesn't get hot. Alright, so onto the passenger side. From my experience, the passenger side is far more difficult than the driver's side. As you can see, we had some good access down here, and right here there's just a bunch of wiring harnesses and lines running everywhere, dipstick in your way. So what I actually recommend is just jack up your vehicle. Maybe easier for you to take off your tire. I don't need to. And there's the O2 sensor right there. I did cut away at the fender a little bit just to give you guys a little bit better view. If you do need to, you can remove the fender. It's very simple. There's like a 10mm screw, which is actually missing right there. A screw right here, and a couple ones along the fender that you'll need to remove to get the inner wheel liner out. But as you can see, I've already changed the sensor here, and you won't need to do that. You will note too, if you're familiar with your vehicle, that the heat shield's actually off of this manifold. There's a large heat shield. There's a circle for it, so you can remove the sensor without removing the heat shield. This heat shield is missing. I don't know where it went. It's kind of not there, but that's no issue. Just so you guys know from your vehicle to mine the difference. But a little bit more difficult coming through the wheel well, a little bit less space. But if you have that socket, that 7/8 O2 sensor socket, it really makes changing this sensor a lot easier. Alright, so we've got the O2 sensors replaced, and now what we're going to do is we're going to clear the learned air-fuel ratio value, which is necessary when you make a repair to an O2 sensor. To do this clearing procedure, because the code might reappear for your O2 sensor if you don't. Nissan has released a TSB about it. It's a fairly simple procedure. There's two ways to do it. One way with your scanner, and one way if you don't have a scanner. It's really easy. So here we go. Let's go ahead and go with the procedure. First thing you're gonna have to do is make sure your vehicle is up to operating temperature. The book says over 158 degrees Fahrenheit, so just, you know, middle of the gauge. If it's been running for 10 minutes, that's pretty good there. Next step is gonna be we're gonna shut off the vehicle and unplug our mass airflow sensor. All right, so what you're going to do is, with the vehicle not running, unplug your mass airflow sensor and start it up. And what you're going to do is wait for the check engine light to illuminate. And there we go. Once you have it running for 5 seconds, go ahead and shut it off and plug in your mass airflow sensor. Alright, so what we're going to want to do is turn your ignition back on, and what we need to do is confirm that we have P0102 and P0113 up. Those are your mass airflow sensor codes. Go ahead and clear those. Clear the codes and recheck to see if there's anything existing, which there shouldn't be. Once you've done that, you have clearing the self-learned data out of the computer. And hope this has helped. I know, especially for me, I've pulled my hair out a couple times trying to diagnose these issues, and it's just something funky. One other thing, if you do have a bi-directional scanner such as this, you don't need to do that funky unplug the mass airflow sensor, plug it back in, clear the codes, get it up to operating temperature. Depending on what brand scanner you have, you should be able to clear the self-learned data from your scanner, which is nice. And I believe mine actually does have that. And there you go. Okay. Transmission in park, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna start it. Done this a couple times with good success. So there it is. So hope it helped. If you have any questions or comments, leave something down. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.